rumors spreading round. United Texas town.
All right, what do you got?
This Swamp Ash Special PRS. They tried to compete with a Stratocaster a little bit. It's got two humbuckers and a single coil. It's got maple neck, bolt-on maple neck. And it was for the people who like Telecasters and Strats who wanted to buy a PRS. It's a little hotter than a regular Fender. You could tap the coil.
Nice.
The neck's a little wider than the others.
Finishing up with the Alien, and this has to be, I'm gonna walk around and video this and just talk a little bit, because this is the bike that I wish I had in my garage. I'm looking at it, it's like there's nothing about the bike that there's not a thing that doesn't feel like it's just awesome. This bike looks so sweet, man. It's low, it's lean, beautiful spring and front end with a 21, what is that, an 80 spoke?
80 spoke, yeah.
80 spoke front wheel. I always liked that. I had that on an FXLR, 92 FXLR that I owned. I put a 80 spoke 21 front on it. It came with the 21, but I put the 80 spoke rim. And it just looks so good, especially at night when it's polished up and you're riding down the street.
And the ball lights hit it.
You know, it's beautiful, beautiful. This black and chrome Springer front end with brass accents, brass fittings, fits the whole bike montage. You got the bar and shield in the paint. I love this. It's almost like a carbon fiber in there. It just, the paint job is outstanding. I mean,
it's another rattle can Charlie. They're all rattle cans.
They're rattle cans. That's it. You're gonna tell me about that in a minute, because the rattle can Charlie thing, guys. If you don't know what a rattle can is, it's just basically a spray paint can. Okay, regular that you buy in Home Depot, Ace Hardware, wherever. But when you do paint jobs like this and you're doing it on that level, that's a skill, man. This is a bike to be proud of. Tell me about this bike.
This was the first big twin I bought after my Sportster. I bought it a year and a half old of some old retired guy that had 43,000 miles on it in a year and a half. He had it was a full dresser, King of the Highway, bags, tour pack, all that.
No, really?
Yeah, oh yeah. And I rode it the first year stripped down, basically like the purple one. And then over the years, I changed it around. It was my main bike. I went everywhere with this thing. And up until last year, it had a Fat Bob fender. It had Fat Bob tanks. You know, the Fender struts with the Fat Bob. It had a wide glide front end on it. And I just had no room to build another bike, and I wanted to do something. And there's a company called Speed King Motors that I look at their website. They build all bikes like this. So I purchased the drop swing arm,
right,
which lowers it 2 inches. I put the 11-inch shocks, and the fender's attached to the swing arm. So the seat is on shocks, but if you did ride on the fender, it's rigid. But I got it nice and low.
So the fender is rigid mounted. It's only rigid mounted here. There's nothing up here. The whole thing moves. The whole wheel and the whole rear moves up and down.
It's mounted to the swing arm down here, in here, and it's mounted to the swing arm here.
Okay,
so
okay. I was wondering how I didn't rattle. That's why. Because it's, okay. Yeah, man. Look at that. Wow.
So this is all, if I took the shocks off, the fender, the wheel, everything would pivot.
Right.
And then, so where I sit, I have some shock, but see the way the fender moves?
Yeah.
So it's not quite rigid.
Not quite a rigid frame, but it sure as hell looks it.
Yeah, it sits nice and low.
Like it would be. I mean, you know, that's the first time I saw a drop swing arm like that.
Well, in the old, here's a little bit of history. In the old days, the old panheads, this tab for the axle went down here on the bottom. So the trick was to take the swing arm off, turn it around, put it on backwards, and it lowered the back a little. Instead of having your axle here, now it was here.
Right.
So that's basically a copy of what they did, 50 years ago.
Wow. I never knew that either. Very humbling experience standing around you talking about these bikes. So this open primary has got a unique cover to it.
That, I wish they still made that. That was a Primo setup. It came with a Pro clutch, which is the best clutch I think around. I think you could still buy them now, but Primo went out of business. And I love that belt drive. It came with that cover. Then, of course, you got BDL, which I got on the other 3 bikes. Well, that's actually an Ultima. But Primo is, I wish Primo was still in business.
Yeah, I'm liking this whole, the open primary. It just, they look so diesel, man. They just, the difference, you got 3.
Well,
this is the same, so.
I'll tell you the nicest thing about them. When you have to take the clutch off or you have to do something with the motor and pull it out, you don't have to drain the primary oil. There's nothing there. It's so simple to work on.
Yeah.
If you want to adjust the clutch, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to take anything off. You do it right there. So maybe it's me being lazy, but that's why I have them on a lot of bikes. Plus, they kind of look cool.
I think the cool factor.
And they kind of add the sound of like a blower belt on a car.
So when we look at all the bikes here, there's a common denominator, especially on these 4 customs, that ties them together in a different way. And that would be the paint. We talked briefly before a little bit about Rattle Can Charlie.
Jimmy Levecki gave me that name.
Did he?
Rest in peace, yes.
All right, Jimmy Levecki used to do hot licks, if anybody knows that man. That was his thing. His thing was flames, and he called them hot licks, and he took a lot of pride in what he did, and he was a legend. Man. I wish he was still around because he definitely would be someone to have one of these interviews with. But tell me a little bit about your bikes and the paint and what the stories are.
Starting from my mini bikes, my bicycles, I didn't have money to have somebody paint them, so I found an old can of Red Devil gold on the shelf my mother used for curtain rod or something, so then my first bike was Red Devil gold. I started with the spray can. And I never paid anybody to paint anything. I gotta say, my friend Doug Mann cleared this with polyurethane because I didn't know how to shoot poly, and I wanted to see if it made a difference. I did all the paint and everything, but he cleared it. And that's 25 years old, that paint now. And it's holding up pretty good.
Yeah.
That's like 31 hours of taping. You got to tape, did all the yellow flames, take all that tape off, redo it for the orange, hit it with the orange, then the clear. So my wife had timed this 31 hours just into tape, not counting the black or anything, just the taping the flames.
I remember seeing Paul Westermeyer taping something out once. And he used to, tall Paul, God rest his soul, he used to do a lot of custom stuff like that too. That's pretty amazing. So it took, how many hours did you?
31, just taping.
Each set, or
no,
all total?
The yellow and the orange.
Still a lot of time. Yeah.
Like I said, that's not counting the molding and the black and all that stuff. That's just, and that's 25 years old. Now, I'm going to share something that, going back to Jimmy, turned me on to, and I'll tell people about it so they could do it if they don't already know about it. Like you mentioned before, it kind of looked like a carbon fiber effect in there.
Yeah.
I walked into Jimmy's shop one day and he had a hood of a Chevelle. I said, that's a heavy car. Why would somebody want to put a carbon fiber hood? How much is it going to you know, way less. And he said, that's paint. And I said, no way. He did it in the black with gray. And I says, how'd you do that? And he goes, don't tell anybody, but I'll tell you. And I'm going to show you. It's so simple. Toolbox liner.
Oh, wow.
Just lay it over and spray through it.
No kidding.
Yeah, so anybody who paints, that's a little trick that I was shown, and I'll share it so you guys know it now.
All right, all right. We're going to see a lot of carbon fiber paint jobs coming out
You'll
soon.
see it on the gold.
I love that. I love that look. That's how you got that, huh?
Yeah.
So what did you? So you'd paint the lighter color first, then you put the thing on, then you paint the darker color to put the black checks in.
I can't pinstripe.
Well, that's different.
So if I want pinstripe, and what I do is I'll spray the whole. In this case, I sprayed the whole bike silver. Now I put the pinstriping tape where I wanted the silver.
Right.
Then I did the Bahama blue. This is called
the lighter blue.
The lighter blue, and then you mask off what you don't want painted, and then I put the carbon fiber, the mesh over there with an airbrush, feathered it in with an airbrush. That's how I got my pinstripe.
Do you use the small pen style art airbrush, or do you use a? You do. Yeah. Okay, that's an art form.
So
that's an art form. People want to know the trick to how you do that, but that's another day.
Can't get everything out.
Yeah, I can't tell you all the tricks.
I'll tell you another trick here. This is Scotch-Brite pad. You get a piece of cardboard, you spray the black or whatever color on it, and then you get a Scotch-Brite pad, and you dip it, and you just dab it. And that's how you get that effect.
That's so cool, man. This bike is like got it going on, my friend. This bike's got it going. Yeah, this is cool. So and now, are you telling me that you painted these bikes with spray cans?
Yes, everything's spray cans. Even the airbrush, I take the spray out of the can and spray it in the airbrush bottle and use it. So everything is from a spray can.
Wow. So the only thing that's a mechanical airbrush of any type is the little pen airbrush to do the fine work.
Yeah.
But everything else is.
Well, see, if you want an effect like this, these are even too closed in. But see here, like a ghost type of flame.
Yeah, yeah.
If you use regular spray, you're not going to get that. You're going to get like a solid flame. So if you want a ghost like that, you really have to use an airbrush for a fine line. So that's what I use the airbrush for. Like that is no fine line. That's all spray can right from the can.
Yeah.
I didn't use an airbrush in there at all.
Right, because that's solid.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool,
now,
man.
A little commercial break. Could we give a prop to the company?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking about paint. I found this company, Custom Cans. Best paint I ever used in a spray can. They make candy apples, pearls, metal flakes, iridescents, flip-flops, everything you could think of in a spray can. And they're clear as a two-step thing like white 2K.
Right.
Where you got to pull the activator and all that. It's bulletproof. Get gas on it, it doesn't affect it at all. So,
and those are enamels? Lacquer?
I think it's water-based. I don't think it's lacquer.
Oh, really?
And it's not enamel. I really don't know what it is. I tried to find out.
But the clear that you're using that's bulletproof.
Clear is the same company.
Same company, but what's it made of?
I think that's polyurethane. Whatever Y2K is, it's the same thing. I think they might even buy it from them.
Wow.
But I've been using Duplicolor for years, and lately you get gas on it, it washes right off.
Right.
So this Custom Cans, if you're going to do a rattle can job, beautiful colors. Both of those two bikes are Custom Can. Half of that one is. This one was before I knew about Custom Can. That's actually Testa's model paint.
Yeah.
In the little cans.
Yeah.
Daytona yellow and competition orange.
Cool. let's talk a little bit about Hog Wild and your band and how, well, that whole lifestyle, because a lot of people don't know that are watching this video that you were a guitarist in this band called Hog Wild, and they used to do a lot of parties at biker bars and you know, but I do remember the band and do remember you being in there, just never really knew all this other cool stuff about you. How did you tell me about the band, the guitars, and, you know, music? You're from a musical background.
My father was a professional sax player, and when clubs started getting piped in music and DJs, that business went south. They didn't want to pay musicians, so he did some wedding dates, but he had to get a day job, you know. And he had an offer to go with the Jimmy Dorsey band at one point, but my mother said they had just got engaged. My mother said, I don't want to live on the road traveling, so he didn't go. But anyway, that was his life. He didn't do anything. He didn't even drive a car, my father. Played his sax, and he was great. So that's how I got into music. You know, some kids like, yeah, my father's practicing. My sister and I would sit there and listen to him play. You know, we would actually listen to him practice. I loved it. And I started playing sax. Sax. He was teaching me. I wish I kept going with that because I love the saxophone. But what happened is the Beatles came out.
Louis Armstrong, right? Didn't he play the sax?
He played trumpet.
Trumpet. Okay, that's right.
Dave
Trumpet.
Brubeck. There was a bunch of famous sax players, but the Beatles came out, and I had to hold a guitar. So I went from tenor sax, which is kind of a bassier sounding sax, to bass guitar. And I always had the motorcycles and the music side by side. I wish if I stuck to one of them, I'd probably be a lot better at either or. Then I got into the model airplanes and had three things, and I really screwed everything up. But
that's another money pit, huh?
Another one. But what happened with the music is I was like totally into it, and what happened? Disco came out. Nobody wanted to listen to Inagata Davida no more, or Cream, or any of the band, Hendrix, the stuff we were playing. So I kind of went from bass guitar, learning guitar, because I used to do a lot of camping with my friends, and sitting around a campfire playing bass doesn't cut it. So I started learning guitar a little, and I always messed around with it between working on bikes and flying planes. What happened was when punk came out, and I saw these bands that were playing 3 chords, making millions of dollars. I said, what am I doing?
Okay.
Well, when I saw these bands playing 3 chords and making millions of dollars, I said, I'm going to start picking up my guitar again and playing. And what happened is I was changing careers in that time, and I got a job with this AC shop with the steam fitters. The boss's son was a guitar player. One of the welders was a bass player. One of the supervisors was a drummer. And I went in for the interview. I was wearing a little guitar around my neck. And they hired me. And they introduced me to the boss's son. He goes, wait a minute, is that a guitar? I said, yeah. He goes, we need another guitar player. We have a bass player. We have a drummer here. And of course, the service manager's like, he don't have time for that. You know, he's got to work. But being the boss's son, we made time.
Yeah.
And we went in the studio once a week, once every 2 weeks, just to jam. And we were all the same age. We all knew the same music from years before. So one day I said, why don't we just learn a bunch of songs and maybe play out? I know a bunch of bike clubs that get bands to play. I said, some of them just jam. I said, it's not even a song. And they said, okay. And what we did is, I had a lot of friends in Yonkers MC, and I said, here's a tape of us. We know about 10 songs, and we could jam the rest of the night. And they says, you're going to play at our next gig. So we didn't have a name or anything, and I didn't want to sing. In the studio, I sang just so we knew where we were in the song. And then when we booked a gig, I was like, wait a minute, we got to get a singer. And they says, you're going to sing. I said, no, I'm not singing in front of anybody. I hate the way I sing. Anyway, I ended up singing. And we did a bunch of gigs for Yonkers MC, their parties. And then they said, when are you going to play in a bar? And we all used to go to the Fore and Aft in White Plains, and one of the guy's girlfriends knew the owner, and she said, you got to get them to play here. So he says, all right, I trust you. When could you play? And Yonkers said, well, bring people. Let me tell you, the line was down the street. We had clubs from all over that they knew. We packed the place, and kind of the rest was history. It took off. In the same time, the radio started coming out with classic rock channels.
Wow.
And they were playing all the stuff that we were playing.
Right.
So we fell right in the right time, right place. And we ended up doing the Am Jam 3 times, the Easy Rider Rodeo a couple of times. We ended up doing all these pretty big. We opened up for Pat Travers, Leslie West, Toy Caldwell from Marshall Tucker.
Les Mountain and Leslie West. Yeah, right?
Yeah. And we opened up for Vince Martell, Vanilla Fudge. So we ended up, we had a great run. We were together about 30 years, and we had over 400 names on our mailing list.
Nice.
And we packed almost every bar. Bars were calling me to come and play. You know, so I actually met my wife at one of them. Russell's up in Yorktown. And then we got too old to play. They don't want to come up from Long Island.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go to Long Island. So we did a couple of reunions after that, but now it's...
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a cool
But we
story.
had a great run. You know, it was fun. Met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
Hog Wild. Yep. It was a good band back in the day, man. That was a good band.
The thing that people liked, there was a lot of, not a lot of bands, but there was bands that did tributes to people. Like I have a friend, George, in a band, Direct Drive. If you never saw Stevie Ray Vaughan, you go see them. It's just like seeing Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan was amazing.
George is amazing. He plays like him. He sounds like him. Then there was a band, Sundown, that did all Southern rock, and they did it great. There's a band now, Head First, that does a lot of Southern rock. Now they're mixing it in. They're great, but what we did back then, we did everything from James Brown to like Hocus Pocus by Focus. You know, we did everything. We did Southern rock, and it was more of a variety, and people used to like that. They were going to hear Santana, they were going to hear Free, you know, Bad Company, everything we played.
So you would pick a genre, let's just say rock, like Bad Company, for example. I always like Bad Company, ZZ Top, kind of feels like they're in the same realm. So you would do that genre and then switch to funk and go into some James Brown for a few songs, and then go to
Bob Seger, Southern rock. Our set list was almost, yeah, sometimes we segued into another song similar, but you might hear I Feel Good and then hear, you know, Smoke on the Water right after that, and Santana right after that. And, you know,
wow.
It was a mix of different things.
All right, just speaking about guitars, you just got a new guitar?
Yeah.
All right, what do you got? What'd you get? You're going to show me, but tell me what you got.
Well, but it is, you know, I like PRS guitars.
Yes, yes.
I was looking at a new one they came out, which was similar to a Fender Telecaster. And I'm interested in that. But then I said, you know, I was watching all the videos on it, and everybody's like, oh, if you love Telecasters, you'll love this guitar. I already got Telecasters, so I didn't. So I said, what don't I have? I don't have a semi-hollow.
Oh.
So I ended up looking, and I was going to buy a PRS semi-hollow, and $6,500 just, I said, I don't deserve to play a guitar that much money. You know, I have expensive guitars I bought in the past. I don't want to spend that much anymore. I got too many guitars. So I found out they made a semi-hollow in like 16, 17 with 22 frets. It was badged an SA, which means it was made in Stevensville, Maryland, near their core shop where they make their expensive guitars. All American made and everything. But it was their first guitar to try to budget it a little so people could afford it. So they might have put cheaper tuners than the $6,000 one.
Yeah,
or different pickups. But the wood and everything is frets, all crafted by the same guys who make the expensive ones. So let me try one of them. So I found a used one, and I bought that last week. and it's different. It's different, the semi-hollow. It's a lot lighter, and it's a different sound. So I just needed a new guitar.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. We did a walkthrough on 6 of Charlie Terranova's collection. Charlie Terranova, the legend.
Legend in this yard. Legend in not even.
A legend in his yard.
Chris is more of a legend than I am.
Not at all. But anyway, this is really a pleasure getting to look at these and hear the history of these bikes. And again, anybody checking this video out, thank you for checking out Moto-Chronicles and the interview with Charlie Terranova. He's a very humble guy, but he truly is one of the last of the master builders that are out there in the New York area. He's just outstanding. All right?
Garage builder.
Yeah.
Let's say garage.
Thanks, Charles.
Thanks for listening.
Well, it's too long living in the same old lies. I feel too cold to live, too young to die. Will you walk the line like it's there to choose?